Okay, so today we're going to start our first in a series of one-on-ones with college coaches who work with race walkers, mostly in the NAIA. And to start off this series, we have Jeremy Winzer from Clarke University. And basically what we're going to do is ask Jeremy some questions about his school, about his program, and he can tell us about what he's looking to do with the university and how he got involved with race walking and things like that. And it's just kind of be an easy flow, good conversation here. And we'll just get started with this. So keep it nice and low key.
Yeah.
So welcome, Jeremy. If you want to tell our viewers and any potential recruits about your school and what makes it a unique environment for them.
Yeah, well, I'm at Clarke University, as you stated, in Dubuque, Iowa, right on the Mississippi. So got that lovely little backdrop until it gets a little cold, but that's okay. Nothing lasts forever. As far as our program goes, what makes us unique.
We lost you a little bit there.
All tight-knit community here at Clarke. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we're a nice, small, close-knit community here at Clarke University, where everyone is known by name, not a person, not a statistic. Everybody's a human being. And that's what drew me here. That's what drew me here this past year. I just wrapped up my first track season here. And that's what I love. That's why I got into coaching. And that's what I want to emulate. And I wanted to be an institution that did the same thing. So I think for us, it's not about necessarily winning all the time. Of course, we want to always compete at the highest level, but it's really more so about the family and the community, and being there for each other together. So big thing there. I think if you're an athlete that's looking to feel like you're at home, away from home, then we're a great place to be.
All right, sounds very inviting. Very family oriented, which is helpful at some of the smaller schools as well. So give us a short history of your coaching background and then sort of transition on how you integrate that into growing students into well-rounded athletes.
Yeah, so I just completed year 14 of coaching at the college level. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it's come so quick that it even shocks me sometimes when I say it out loud. So I started off as a primarily distance runner myself, / middle distance kid when it came time for the track. And one of the things that I've always done as I've been into my coaching, when it comes down to integrating the whole human, is really taking time to get to know the individual athlete. That's something that I had as an athlete, and that's something I've passed down each and every year. I'm the guy that before we do anything, hey, how you doing? And a lot of times people are taken back by that question when I show up to practice. They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, how are you doing? I want to know what's going on, because I believe, some coaches coach and say, hey, when you're here, nothing else matters. And that couldn't be further from the truth. It all matters. Mm-hmm. I've had days this year, even particularly with my race walker, he was a little banged up, beat up mentally after nationals indoors this year. We went in ranked 6th, and he ended up finishing 9th, one place out of All-American. One place higher than he finished the year before. We went 9th and 10th at nationals, and he was just mentally exhausted. So me and him met, outside the office, just at a random table to get him, get comfortable. and was able to just to kind of find out what was really going on. And come to find out, it had nothing to do with the sport itself, and it had everything to do with all these other outside circumstances. And that's something for me that I personally, as a coach, I like to dig into. So we took a nice long break. I let him train kind of on his own. I trusted him. I like to trust all of my athletes so I can give them what they need, whether that be space, whether that be time, whether that be, more attention, no matter what it is, to help them be the best they can be as a human being and an athlete. I want to do it. So we just really opened up that line of communication, and we were able to get the young man back on track. We passed on going to outdoor nationals. He just wanted a break, and I respected that. Yeah. He walked that conference, got the team points that he needed, podiumed, and then we said, you know what, we're gonna go home. And I actually thought he was gonna go home, but you know what? He decided to actually stay on campus. So he's actually training right now. And I had no idea that he was gonna stay. And he was like, okay, I want to get ready for next year. And that those are the things that I like to see. I like to see, to be able to help them mature, push them when they needed to be pushed, but also step back and let things kind of just be when appropriate.
It's so I mean, you've been in the game for a long time, and myself as well. And it's interesting to see how the coach athlete relationship has changed over time. And I remember just being treated completely differently when I was an athlete. And then even when I started coaching, treating athletes differently than I would do now. And there's so much more involved with the interpersonal, the mental, emotional relationships that you have with athletes, where there used to be a wall there. And now with that, tearing down that wall but understanding, where you can and shouldn't be getting involved, but, allowing that door to be more open to the athlete is it's tremendous how much it's changed.
Absolutely.
So what are the most important qualities in a potential recruit that you try to identify, so where they're going to be a good fit for your program and vice versa?
Honestly, for me, all of my years of coaching, I've never been able to get necessarily I've never had that blue chip kid, coming right out of school. I've always been a developer. And so for me, I look for certain characteristics. I don't care if you are good or if you're terrible.
We lost you a little bit again. There we go. We got sound again.
Back now, great.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for an athlete that my headphones are going haywire. We good now?
Yeah, we're good now.
Yeah, so I'm looking for the student athlete that comes in with the appropriate attitude. So I think a kid's mindset. One second here.
Maybe we do it without the video. Go the rest of the way without the video.
Yeah. So I think how a kid's mindset and how they look at things and how they view themselves is important. So if I have a kid that says, "Hey, coach, I've never done this before, but I have aspirations of getting there," I'll take that kid over a kid that's talented with a crappy attitude that doesn't want to take care of business. Now, that's from an athlete standpoint. Now, before I even get to that point with a recruit, I want to know who they are as a human being and as a student. Because there's one thing throughout all of my years that I've never liked to do, which is have to hold your hand and worry about you doing what you're supposed to be doing in the classroom and outside the classroom. So I look for kids that aren't headaches, that are going to go to class, they're going to take care of their business, and the rest of it, that's my job. That's my job to improve that kid, and we were able to really do that, with a young man this year in his first year race walking, and, he ended up being 10th, and he just wanted it. He showed up every day, every session. He did what he was supposed to be doing. He cross-trained when he was supposed to be cross-training. He laid off paces when he needed to lay off. He honestly executed his race plan to perfection at nationals. Couldn't have pulled it off any better. And I just look for those type of kids, just chipper, that takes everything with grace. Um, that wants to be a good teammate and uplift others that are around them. Um, and of course, I'm all about kids showing emotion because I think that's part of the process, and I think that's passion, and that means you care. But overall, I'm looking for bottom line good people. So when
It's
I
it,
call a coach,
I
I
was going
say,
to say
hey,
that's a good place to start, is because
yeah,
they need to fit in the environment.
correct. And for us, I turned away two kids that would have been really useful for us on a national level. When the coach was just like, "Hey, they're a little rough," and I said, "We can't have that." I changed my mind. I had another young lady that's from Montana. This had a teammate that was outstanding. She's like, "Coach, she's terrible." I said, "Well, if you don't want her here, I'm not bringing her."
Yeah,
And
and the team dynamic is really important.
so I would say, I'm looking for to have a group, a team full of givers, lovers, kids with grace, gratitude, and great attitudes.
Okay, sounds good. And what are the goals that you set for individual athletes and the team on an annual basis and over a 4-year period? Is that something that you set for them? Does the athlete set them, or is it a combination of both?
I always start with the athlete. If they don't want it, I'm not pushing them. And that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, which it comes down to the human being. There's some kids that could care less about being an All-American. They could care less about XYZ. But we always set goals. And so my job as a coach is I let my athletes set their goals and then I hold them accountable. Now, a lot of times they're hitting their goals early, and then that's when I get in and have fun, and I get to
Mm-hmm.
start reading things because I'm already knowing where I think they can be if they do all the right things and they do all the little things that are important. Um, but from a base level, from my group, minimum, it's a score at conference. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
event we're doing, how we're doing it. It's the score. It's the score at conference, and then anything above that, it's on them. But their bottom line is they're trying to figure out a way. We're in a large conference here in the heart of America. We got 14
Yeah.
teams, so you have to qualify. So everybody doesn't go. It's not just like, oh, hey, I'm on the team, I get to go. So we start off saying, hey, how can we be in the top 12? Because I feel like if we're in the top 12, I feel good enough about us in championship season that we can rise to 6. We can rise up.
Yeah.
If we do things right. So that's the bottom line goal. But overall, when it comes into that, I let them set that baseline, and then we actually go over 5 years for my
Okay.
my most of my kids. We go 5 years. That's if they want to have that post collegiate year. I want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
we're plotting that out so we're not trying to do too much too soon inside of their college career.
Sounds like a good plan. So for that last question that I threw out there for you, I
Yeah.
was thinking about it for a little while, and if you could have dinner with anybody alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh man, I'd probably say I love to sit down for a drink with Steve Prefontaine. Uh, I just think, just everything that I know about the guy and his mentality, his mindset as being probably one of the ultimate competitors, gutsy, just what goes in what goes into that creating that DNA. I love to know.
Okay. Do you have anything that you want to add in as we wrap up?
For me, not really. My biggest thing is I always say this. For us here at Clarke University, for any recruit that's interested in competing at the next level, the door's always open. I'm always here to open up opportunities. I think some coaches get too caught up in the time standards and potentially what they think they can be versus us being confident in our ability to develop. So I always say, hey, if the kid's got the right attitude and the kid wants to do it, then I'll take them. We'll give them an opportunity. And I coach the worst kid the slowest kid, no different than I coach the top level kid. I spend about three hours every Sunday figuring out training, tailoring it, texting kids, asking them how they feel, what they thought about the week before, because that's just how we get results. It can't be cookie cutter. Everything's tailored. And I think somebody that's looking for a family, looking for a nice custom situation, this is a great place to be.
Sounds exciting. I'm glad to, have finally had the opportunity to almost face-to-face meet with you. We've been chatting for a while online, for sure. And, I also want to thank you for taking the time to, spend a few minutes with us and tell us about your program. And, I realize you're on vacation now. You're finally getting some time to yourself with no track, which must be exciting.
Yeah.
Again, I want to thank you for your time. Enjoy the good weather down there. And I appreciate you taking the time out with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Michael, I'll be in touch.
Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bring the funk back.